It's important to have an idea about how the Peace Committee came about, because I think many people, I keep hearing people saying that the Peace Committee has been with us and electoral violence has not stopped. And somehow people think that because the Peace Committee exists, there should no longer be any elections that are free and fair and credible and so on. Well, we have objectives, but to go back, some of you may remember the 2014 elections that took place in Kenya and the violence that attended those elections, leading to an unprecedented violence that Kenyan elections had never seen. And one of the key players was the late Kofi Annan of happy memory. And I think they took particular interest in the 2015 elections that were coming up in Nigeria. And of course, as you know, Nigerians like conspiracy theories, and there were conspiracy theories relating to the fact that the Americans had predicted that in 2015, Nigeria was going to break up. Although many Nigerians, 99% of those who commented about that report never really read the report itself. I was lucky to read the report. It made no such claims. But the former, I think it was under Jonathan, Senator Ben Obi, and Jonathan had the good mind, presence of mind, to set up an office of inter-party affairs. And the whole idea was to create confidence among political parties. And it was during his time that he convened a meeting. I was invited to that conference, and Kofi Annan was around. Unfortunately, I couldn't physically be at the conference. But later that evening, I remember at about 8 p.m., I got a call from Chief Emeka Anyoku, and he had chaired that meeting. And my anxiety when I picked my phone was Chief Anyoku was going to come hard on me because I was expected to speak at that conference. And after the pleasantries, he said to me, he said, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm in Abuja, sir." And he said, "Well, we didn't see you at the conference." And I said, "I'm really very sorry. I had other engagements and I couldn't make it." But one of the very exciting things that I had seen on the news, which really shook me, was the idea of then Major General Muhammadu Buhari, who was the presidential candidate for the APC, in a very warm embrace with President Goodluck Jonathan. I was really shaken by that photograph. And so when I received this call, Kofi Annan says to me, he said, Chief Emeka Anyoku says to me, "Have you ever met Kofi Annan?" I said, "No." No. He said, "Do you know Kofi Annan?" And I said, "I know of Kofi Annan, but I have not had the pleasure and honor of meeting him." I said, "Well, he would like to meet you." And I was taken aback because, how would Kofi Annan be wanting to see me? But he said, "We're at the Hilton, and if you have a moment, he would like to see you." And I drove over to the Hilton, and I met Kofi Annan for the first time. And he said a few pleasant things. But one of the things he said to me, he said, "Look, we'd like a National Peace Committee to be set up in Nigeria to avert the possible violence that will arise from the Nigerian elections." And I was quite taken aback because I didn't know how Kofi Annan had heard about me. But anyway, story for another day. I was then saddled with the responsibility of convening a cross-section of Nigerians with enough reputation to be able to lend their moral voices to ensuring that the Nigerian elections will be free and fair. And that was how the Peace Committee came about. But when we finished, after the 2015 elections, as you know, all the projections literally came to nothing. Let me put it that way. But then after the elections, we decided as members of the Peace Committee to just shake hands and everybody will go home. But then we thought, well, let's even have an idea of how people felt about the elections. And we had a meeting with the media, different civil society groups. We had a meeting with the members of the council of the senior politicians in the APC and the PDP. We had a meeting with the speaker. We had a meeting with the Senate president. We had a meeting with President Jonathan. We had a meeting with President Buhari, who had just been sworn in then. And to our greatest shock and surprise, everybody enthusiastically from the media right across said, no, the peace committee cannot go home, because we thought everybody will shake hands and then we just go back home. And I thought these people that we had brought together were very, very busy people. You had His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, Cardinal Onaikan, General Abdul Salam, all very respectable Nigerians who were very, very busy. And somehow one thing led to the other. The peace committee is still here. I don't want to say much to my disappointment, because I had hoped that by now elections would have gained enough traction. You know, you don't give out your daughter in marriage and then every time they are calling you to come and settle quarrel. But that's how I feel with the peace committee. So I think that going forward, let me tell you, as far as Edo is concerned, I am very convinced that Edo elections will come, they will pass, they will be peaceful. There may be arguments, and there ought to be arguments. Because the most important thing in political processes is that the more you have these debates, the more people have opportunities to ventilate, the better it is. I was in Rwanda, in Kigali, on the night they were releasing the results for the presidential election. And the taxi driver who took me from the airport, when I asked him, I said, you know, how were the elections? He said, oh, the elections went very well. Our president won the elections. He will win again. He will win again. And he will win until he dies. Now, compare that with the Nigerian process. And I like Nigeria. Our elections they seemingly look chaotic, but there's always a method to the madness. This energy helps to improve the quality of governance. So my hope is that ordinary Nigerians will learn that these politicians that you see, you know, don't worry about their quarrels, because somehow they will find a way of settling their problems.